Showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
Welcome, Salt Lake City, to episode 124 of the I Am Salt Lake podcast. My name is Chris Hollifield. Thank you so much for checking out the show, for downloading, for streaming, however you're listening to it. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule to listen to this episode. IamSaltLake.com is the website. You can go there and dig deep into the archives and listen to all of the previous conversations that I've had. I have another 123 episodes right there online that you can download and check out and listen to the stories of the people here in Salt Lake City that are making Salt Lake City what it is today, making it a place that I can be proud to call home. And thank you so much for those of you that have been sharing your favorite episodes on your favorite social media sites. Much appreciated. Helps get the word out about the podcast. And I cannot thank you guys enough for sharing all of your favorite episodes with your family and friends. This episode is sponsored by our friends at the Urban Lounge. Make sure to check out their website, theurbanloungeslc.com. You can head on over there, find out about all of the upcoming concerts. Also follow them on Twitter and Facebook. The Urban Lounge SLC. The Urban Lounge is located at 241 South, 500 East, right in downtown Salt Lake City. Support them, show them some love, and thank you, Urban Lounge, for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. This episode, I sat down with a longtime friend of mine, John Farmer. He's involved with Utah Musicians Radio, American Musicians Radio, a great online radio that you can head on over to amr.fm, stream local music 24 hours a day. Really great project that he's involved in. He's been working on this for quite a while. He was actually on episode 30. First time John Farmer was on the podcast sharing the story. So you're going to want to make sure to go to iamsaltlake.com/30. Listen to the first time John Farmer was on the podcast. He gets a little more in depth on how it started and kind of some of the obstacles that he faced. This episode was a little more relaxed. We did some catching up. We found out a little bit more about John Farmer and kind of what he's up to, and found out more about him as an individual. Had a great time when he came over to my downtown apartment here in Salt Lake City. We had a great conversation. So without any further chatting on my end, why don't you guys join me now as I talk to John Farmer from American Musicians Radio. You know me, I gotta stay portable, man.
Oh yeah,
I gotta stay portable so I can go and do whatever. I don't know. We'll get chatting here, man.
Hey, we always do.
Jump right into it.
Yeah.
You know, it was funny because actually before you came, before I was listening, you were on about a year ago.
It has been almost a year, hasn't it?
Yeah, because episode 30, it was posted online December 31st of 2012. Episode 30 you were on.
Yeah, I was 30.
And I was listening to that and I'm like, my gosh, this podcast has come a long ways.
Isn't it crazy?
It's interesting where you can take a little idea and how it can explode.
Yeah.
You know,
well, and I gotta tell you, you know, from my standpoint, being from the outside of it, watching you grow and listening to your shows and how much you've come a long way is just, it's astounding, man. And again, like I said, you know, when I first heard your show, when I first saw what you were doing, I said, this guy is going to do it.
Yeah.
I knew.
You've always believed in me, John.
I had to, man, because no one else did, right?
Yeah. Well,
I'm just saying.
No, there was,
there's a lot of people that were out there believing in you, and I think that's what really helped you succeed. But I mean, to be completely honest, man, like I said, I saw it and I believed in it, and I was impressed as hell. And watching where you've come from, like you said, from 30 to where you are today, man, it's like almost night and day. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Hell yeah, man.
Well, let's catch up. Is the microphone there good?
Yeah, that's good right here, man.
Yeah, just
I'm
tweak it around, get comfortable.
I'm good to go.
We're gonna get relaxed with John Farmer.
Right on.
No, so American Musicians Radio has exploded. Pretty much, to put it lightly. I mean,
it's crazy.
I saw you just added South Africa.
We just added South Africa in 2 days ago.
Was it that? So that's your most recent country?
Yeah.
That you've added to the to the roster, so to say.
Yeah, we can thank Gareth McDowell down in Australia for that. He's got a lot of connections, and he's helped out. He's even got some promoters in Germany now. So, yeah, I mean, he's bringing in everybody from around the country while I'm working here in Utah and building our base here, and he's going out and spreading the seed. So
where should we start? I mean, in over the last year,
man,
what's you got a new website?
Got a brand new website up there.
Let's start with that. What? I mean, I know it's still new,
well,
and I know it's still kind of in the beta stage, right? Is that kind of what's
it's still?
going on?
Yeah, I mean, we released it, but yeah, I think every website, any good website's always going to stay in beta for a really long time because there's always going to be new features and new things that are popping up and everything. I wouldn't even call Facebook in an alpha stage yet. I still think they're still adding new things every day.
Of course. Yeah. So explain the website for people listening. Let's just jump right in and start with the website.
The one main thing that I definitely want to impress on people is this isn't like Reverb Nation where it's just a bunch of musicians patting each other on the back and the average person doesn't really understand it. This is literally like a social networking site that has music. It's like Pandora, Facebook, iTunes, and Reverb Nation all wrapped up into one big site. So this is for the fans. This is for the people to listen to. We're giving you a radio station for the people to listen to bands that are for the people. So it's, these are local independent musicians in your hometown that are submitting their music, and anybody can log in. It's free for the bands. It's free for the fans. It's free for anybody that's interested, and they sign up and they get the radio station and listen to. So
not only a band would sign up, like an individual.
This isn't just for a band.
An individual can sign up, and can they make a profile page on there in the whole 9 yards?
Yep, they can. And we have a playlist feature, so you can actually gather some of your favorite songs and put them on your playlist. And then, unlike iTunes, where if you buy all the songs and then you lose your password or something like that, and you have like 500 songs or whatever, you got to go back and buy all those songs over again. This, you can go anywhere on the planet, turn on your computer, and boom, there's your playlist right there, and you can listen to the music you picked. And
how many bands are on the website? Or have you added? Are you adding the bands, or do the bands have to add themselves?
No, it's finally automated. I'm no longer sitting behind the screen uploading it. It's all automated.
Because that's what you were doing in the beginning. I mean, what I'm hoping to do here is kind of catch up with you. You've kind of shared your story of how it started in episode 30. So I recommend people to kind of go back and catch up
to episode 30.
Yeah, I'll put the link on the show notes, obviously, so they can go back and listen. So because in the beginning you were adding the bands.
I was.
You were manually adding them. Now the bands kind of add themselves.
Yeah, it all started with Facebook, where I've been in the industry a long time, knew a lot of bands, and so I basically just told them, hey, submit your music and I'll put it on the station, and just blew up from there. And now it's automated, so now they just upload it and it goes directly into the station, and you can hear it. We've also got it our live radio, which has the DJs, so something that you'll be part of down the road if you're interested. Still interested.
Still interested, absolutely.
And so Gareth, in fact, down in Australia has his own show, so he's now broadcasting. You can go on and listen to Australian Musicians Radio, and he's got his own broadcast. And
so do you have to click on Australia to listen to him?
Yeah, you just click on Australia and you can listen to him when he does his shows, and they're all live. And we've got the guy in South Africa. His name's George. We're going to be working with him, and he's going to have his own show. He's got his own equipment, so he'll just plug right in and start broadcasting from South Africa. So,
and are you still doing Johnny Cat?
Johnny Cat.
The Cat's Den.
The Cat's Den. Yeah, I've kind of taken a hiatus from this year a little bit. We've had some medical stuff. I broke my back and all that, and we've been looking into getting into a studio and everything. So that's been kind of the biggest thing that we've really been.
Different obstacles have been in the way of that one.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's been a nightmare, and unfortunately, I can't really get into any of the legalities of it, but
Totally fine.
But yeah, we're just we're working on getting a studio so we can have bands come in and record with us now. We'll have a facility where they can play live so that we can do like live broadcasts and have an audience for the bands. And
that would be more for Utah bands because it would be here in Salt Lake.
It could be, but I mean, if we have an outside band that's coming in and they know about us or whatever, we can set a time up and we'll have an audience there and they can come in and do an interview and play live and get them out there. And then they'll have, what's nice about it is not only will they have their interview, but they can put that on their profile on AMR too. So then they'll have a podcast that people can go out and listen. And we'll create videos for them so that they can put that on the website and record their music. So then they'll have that for the website. People can go in and buy each song. Just anything we can do to help benefit the band. So
the possibilities are endless.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, there's no end to what we're trying to put together.
So as we're recording this, how many bands would you, I mean,
right now Utah has 107 since we started this.
On the new website.
Just on the new website. 107 bands now. And that's only within the last 3 weeks.
So you're kind of recommending all the bands that submitted music in the past go in and make a new profile page.
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, that was kind of one of my biggest obstacles that I ended up telling my guys, as I said, okay, we've got 500 bands from Utah right now. The hardest part is telling these bands, okay, now resubmit your songs. And everybody's like, oh, why don't you just build them a profile? I'm like, I'm not going to build 400 more profiles of bands that may not still be around, or it's not my place to try to create profiles because I could do it wrong or the wrong email, so we just want to leave it up with the bands.
So get into resubmit. Now, can you go on the website and see like when your live shows are?
Yep.
Or is there like
there's events on there that
times listed and the whole 9 yards?
Quite literally, it's just like Facebook. You can create events on there. You can create anything that.
Well, I'm talking about like your show, for example.
Oh yeah, our show. Yeah.
Can people go on there and find out when the Cat's Den's on and find out when the guy from Australia is on and all that?
Yeah, I'm going to be creating an American Musicians page so that it'll show our show broadcasts and the ones for Gareth and myself, and George creates some and all that. So yeah, we'll get that.
And you can, actually, before, I'll mention it obviously, in the introduction, but what is the website so people can, the easiest way to get to the website?
The website is www.amr.fm. We wanted to make it as simple as possible. AMR is an American Musicians Radio. .fm is an FM radio.
And you were showing me one time we met up, bam, you can just type it into your smartphone there.
Goes in,
boom, you can stream it. So you're driving down the road, you can listen to music that way.
We are working on our phone app now. So that's.
You are working at it. Finally, John, finally.
I know it's killing me here, but yeah, our phone app is actually coming down the line. And the website, like I said, is pretty much up there, but the app's going to be really nice. So you can just go in and pick a band or pick whatever and then load it all up. And what's nice is, the bands, we give the bands the options where they can either, where you can just play the music, where you can download the music, or you can buy the music. So they can actually, choose whatever they want. If they want to give you a teaser song and just give you a download with an entire album, you can do that and the rest of the songs, and they get to pick their own price. So bands, you can write down whatever price you want. If you think your song's worth gold and $200, go for it. So, and
then they could pay, someone could buy it,
and then someone can buy it and download it just like that. Yeah. And the other nice thing is that, and I have to stress this, the industry standard is 30%. We only take 15. And I'll tell you why we do that, because we don't believe in ripping bands off. There's enough people out there doing that. We didn't write the song. We didn't produce a song. We didn't play the instruments. We didn't buy the instruments. We didn't take the time out to do the recording. So why should we take all the extra money?
But you got to pay for the website somehow.
That's what 15%'s for.
Okay.
Yeah. We're taking just 15% because, again, the standard industry is 30. But again, iTunes is raising their prices up. Everybody, that's why they raised it up to $1.29. So bands get more money, but they're still taking a bigger percentage. It's just,
It's all big business, man.
It's all big business, and we want to be a big business for the small guy, for the little guy. We want to be the voice, that big loud megaphone for the little guy trying to get his sound out there.
I mean, what keeps you going to want to help the little guy?
Insanity.
The little band.
Insanity.
You know? Insanity.
Pretty much keeps me going. No, no, it's literally.
Because you love music. I mean, you love local music. The smaller bands. I mean, I know you probably have
for music.
You probably listen to, corporate music like the next person, but you definitely have more of an interest in the smaller up and coming bands.
I'm not even going to lie to you. I think there's better music coming from the independent artists now than there is what the industry's pumping out to you.
Well, most of the music. Yeah, that was my phone. No, you're fine.
But I quite literally, I have such an affinity for local independent artists. They work the hardest. They just do. And it's so much more creative. I think they have so much more freedom, whereas when the industry gets a hold of them and everything like that, they want a certain sound. They start homogenizing it by cleaning it up to the point that it loses its soul, it loses its meaning. And before you know it, it's just like every other song you've heard out there. And I like the raw material that is their soul being poured out onto the digital.
What is one thing that you think a band can do to, what is the biggest mistake, I guess you would say, up and coming bands are making in something that they can do to change? We've even talked about this with like bands. One of the
biggest things I think over the last couple of years one of the things that I've really noticed, and I wouldn't really say it's a mistake, is it's a lack of knowledge, but promotions, promoting yourself, getting your name out there, like I said,
promoting how would you say to promote though? I mean, that's such a large thing to say.
It is. But that's the problem, is that in today's world, promoting is everywhere. I mean, you got social networking, you've got Twitter, you've got Facebook, you've got Instagram, you've got just 1,000 different Google Plus. I mean,
and they're all free.
And
bands aren't using them really to the fullest capabilities. Do you think?
I think that what happens is that they get frustrated and they say, I've been promoting for the last 3-4 weeks solid and I'm not getting anywhere.
3 or 4 weeks. Yeah. Try 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, exactly. They need to get out there. They need to do more shows. And the other biggest mistake that bands make is they play for free. Get the exposure, but if you really, truly, honestly believe that your time is free, then go to work for free and see how much your boss is going to love you. Are you really going to go to your job and work for free? No one in their right mind. Would you go out to your work and say, "Hey, boss, I'm going to work for free"?
Sometimes I feel like I do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Exactly. I feel like exactly. I should be getting paid more than I am, but
exactly. Well, these guys are their own boss. And they have to sit back and realize that what they are doing is of value. And if these bar owners turn around and say, well, I'm not willing to pay, then screw up. Don't work there. Don't do a show there, because they're just there to get bands in there. Turn that off. But yeah, so it's just I think that's probably the biggest mistake bands do.
It's important in the beginning though to get out there and play for free, don't you think? Just to get your name out there, maybe give out some free CDs or.
Yeah, but then again, how are you going to pay for your free CDs?
You got to start somewhere though.
Yeah, but then put it out on digital media and then you can pump it out there for free. But then again, you still got to go out and promote yourself. So, and it's a tough one, because I know there's so many bands out there. They're like, well, we want to get our name out there. I made that mistake. I'm like, yeah, exposure. Well, that's great. But then all of a sudden, the things that you are trying to get out there, these venues start realizing, oh, well, he's willing to do it for free. And so when you go back in and you say, well, I want $150 now, or I want $300, or I want $500, they look at you and they're like, well, why would I want to pay you now?
You played in a band, right? Or are you still playing music?
I try to play a little bit of music when I can here and there. But the band, we've kind of taken our little hiatus for a bit. Well, this radio station's taken off, the website and all that.
So, I mean, I'm sure you had a lot of obstacles in the beginning.
Well, and that's just it, is that what I learned from it is, our music has value. Don't undersell yourself. Don't turn around and think, I want the exposure. Say, I put a lot of time and effort into this, and I don't think you're a rock god and that you're going to get $1,000, but at least go out there and be reasonable about it. If they say, well, we'll put you in on a Thursday, don't say I want $5,000. You're not going to get it on a Thursday, but you're going to maybe get $200 to $300 on a Thursday. And if you're good and you pack it up and you get people in there, you can get a weekend, and then you can start asking for more money at that point. But you got to prove yourself, and you got to get that, you got to build that up. You got to build that clientele.
So if you say, okay, if you're telling bands don't play for free, sell the music.
And you got to promote
what do you think about like the big labels in? Like if a big label was to contact a smaller band and say, hey, you know what? We want to sign you for, let's just say $1 million. I don't know.
You'd be screwed.
Why do you feel that way?
Well, all right. First of all, the industry isn't even going to look at you if you don't pack it, you don't have a big fan base. That's what they're looking for right now. When they go out there, good example, Justin Bieber, he had 1 million views or something for him singing copyrighted stuff. And so an executive said, wow, this kid's got a bunch of followers. Let's sign him. And so then they took him. The odds, and this is again why promotion and getting a large fan base and getting your numbers up there is so important. Because if you don't have the followers, if you don't have the fan base, the industry is not even going to look at you. But let's just say that the industry does sign you up. You got to be really careful, because the industry is going to turn around and sign you up and then make you pay everything back. So I'm going to give you $1 million, but now you got to go on tour for 5 years to pay back that $1 million. And if you don't make it up in record sales and ticket sales, then you owe us this $1 million back, or however much is left over. And then they own your music. So I know a band that was signed, they shelved their music, and now they can't even play that album live because that label owns them, and they can't even play their own music local in a bar. And because they shelved them and then they dropped them, they still own the music, but they can't even play their own music.
So what, I mean, do you think a band can make it then? I mean, isn't that kind of the end goal, is to go big, or,
Well, see, and I've been watching, I've been paying attention, I've been listening, and more bands are making it through independent means than they are going through labels. They're doing better now independently than they are with labels. And that goes back to getting marketing, getting and promoting, and finding your niche and making a niche. And, you're going to have to spend your own money, but you don't need the industry to pay your way through that.
Well, outlets like Facebook even, let's use, them for example. It's a lot easier to book your own tours, to get your music out there.
And that's another great thing about AMR.FM, our website.
Exactly.
You can actually promote your stuff on our page. You can create your own digital media, your own digital press kit, and send bar owners to the website, and they can see your videos. That's another thing, guys. Big key, create a video, funny video, whatever you want to do, but make a music video and promote it.
Why do you think a video is so important?
Well, it's kind of like if you were going to buy a car, you're not going to buy it without the picture on the website.
You want to see the band.
You want to see the band. You want to see what they look like live. And that's also what venue owners are looking for. They want to see what the band looks like live, how they sound when they're recorded. And they can see, if they do a live video, they'll be able to see what they look like on stage live. And then they'll get to hear their music when it's recorded. So then they get kind of the full package, and it's all right there on the website.
And can you put videos on the AMR website?
Absolutely.
And is that linked through YouTube, or is that uploaded directly on the website?
We have a couple that are directly on our website, but it's mostly where they just put we just use the bandwidth off of YouTube. We're still low budget. We're still using YouTube's.
Yeah. Well, why not? I mean, YouTube.
Hey, it works. So.
YouTube's a great platform.
It is.
And I mean, I go on there all the time. People will say, "Oh, check this band out. Check this out," and I'll go on YouTube. Check the band out.
And you can actually go on our website now and just click on videos, and it's right there. And we've got think we've got like 100 videos now or something like that.
That's great.
And at the end of the day, what we really want to start pushing is music video. Really bring back what MTV threw away. And
God bless MTV.
Thank you for getting rid of the M of TV.
I mean,
and calling it N.
You remember growing up? I mean, watching when there was really music videos on there, and you would sit there and you would wait until until this Iron Maiden song's on, or wait until it's like they play. You would sit there and wait. Okay, they're going to play it. They're going to play it. They're going to play it.
And they would always talk about coming up, you're going to have, you're like, you'd be like,
And now it's just like
Jersey Shore, awkward, catfish. I know these because my daughter watches those, and I want to barf. But yeah, I'm like, where's the music video? She's like, is there music videos on here? I'm like, that's what the M stands for. She's like,
really?
She's like, really? And I'm like,
when did they stop playing music? When do you know when that was? I mean, I don't even know off the top of my head.
Well,
I don't even know when that was.
And then what was even more funny is that then MTV2 came out.
Do they still do that?
They were playing music, and they actually have a few more music videos, but they still do.
I don't even get cable TV, so I don't even know. Like Netflix and Hulu. That's like, but is MTV2 still around?
It is.
It is. And do they play music videos or no?
On occasion. In fact, I will watch the, Metal Hour, what I can't even remember.
What was that old the old metal show that they used to play back in the day? What was the name of that? Gosh, I can't believe I can't remember. My mind is a blank.
Yeah. Oh, it's let's see, they got that metal show on.
But this was years ago. Yeah,
before they did that.
And people listening there are probably
Headbangers Ball.
Headbangers Ball. I love.
Yeah, they still have Headbangers Ball.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Gosh, I miss that stuff.
That's or no, it's not Headbangers. Well, what it is now it's just the old metal, I don't even remember what they call it now. But anyway, so they still play all the old heavy metal stuff, and I'll sit up late at night and just go, oh yeah, Dawkins. Who remembers Dawkins?
So let's talk a little bit about John Farmer here. I always like to kind of get personal here a little bit. What music are you listening to these days? I mean, a lot of local stuff, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, what are some bands that are really impressing you off the top of your head?
Boy.
Big named, small named. I mean, or is that kind of putting you on the spot a little bit?
Again, like I know you asked me that last time.
Did I ask you that last time?
You did, yeah. And it was.
Well, I'm always curious.
Well, it's funny, and I'll give you a perfect example. If you go on my Facebook page and you look, and I created and I posted my playlist. You can actually do that on the website too. So say, you get on there and you like a bunch of songs, and then you create a playlist. You can actually share your playlist with all of your friends so that they can go on, and then that can generate interest for the bands or people to find these new bands and everything. So it's really, when we really encompass the whole social networking thing. But anyway,
so it's like its own social networking site.
Oh, it
really?
Is. Oh no, it is like Facebook, iTunes, Reverb Nation, and Pandora. Those are the four things that we really tried to focus on, because you got your own radio station. It's a social networking site. You can sell your music, and it's for all the bands. So, and there's a charting system, so the bands can see where they're at and really put it together. So it's all of those wrapped up into one.
You still didn't answer the question.
So anyway, so what ended up happening is I posted my playlist on there, and I was just testing it out, and I had like 45 bands on there, and we have 107. And so I was just testing it out, and the ration of shit I got was astounding. It was just like, hey, where's my band? Hey, where's my band? And I'm like, I knew that was going to happen, Johnny K.
Yeah.
He gave me a ration, but it was just, all in good fun. But so, I gotta say though, to be completely honest, Johnny K, his music his voice is
and Johnny K is from where now?
Salt Lake.
From Salt Lake. Okay.
He's from Utah. And he just, has just this amazing voice. In fact, one of his songs was like, Stephen Perry from Journey, just like Wheels in the Sky, kind of that gruff kind of sound, just phenomenal. He's one of my favorites. Adola, Opal Hill Drive, Rickshaw, Ghost Town.
And these are all Utah bands.
There's a lot of Utah bands. Let's see. There's Hail Mary and Slightly Left of Center. They're from Australia.
What's your all-time favorite band? Like Black Sabbath or something like of that, you know what I mean?
All-time favorite band's got to be Pink Floyd.
Okay.
Straight.
And I probably asked you that again in episode 30.
My all-time favorites, now, song-wise, it has to be Zeppelin's Kashmir. That's my all-time favorite. I'm into those spacey, long, drawn-out, like Kashmir and The End from the Doors and just anything from Floyd. And
so you listen a lot of classic rock.
I love classic rock. Yeah, that's kind of, because again, it goes back to there was no fluff.
Yeah.
It was straight up just,
they played music to play music, man.
And you know, I have a lot of people say, well, if they had the same technology then as they do today, you know, they would use them. If the Beatles had, you know, my friend of mine, Jody Whitesides, he's another really good artist. He's like, you know, the Beatles, if they had all the technology they do today, they'd utilize it. I'm like, yes, and they probably would be a one-hit wonder. They wouldn't be where they are today if they had today's technology, because the industry wouldn't buy them. The industry wouldn't take them. Just like they wouldn't take Zeppelin. They wouldn't take Floyd, because it's not what they're selling. And they want to sell you Lady Gaga and Beyonce and Justin Bieber and Bruno Mars and all these other guys. And I'm just like, why? Why don't you give anybody an option? I mean, even in the 80s, you had Thompson Twins, Howard Jones, Iron Maiden, Poison, Rat, Van Halen. You had all of these different styles of music on the radio. Now it's really just the same stuff, you know? Imagine Dragons. Great band, great local band. They're from Utah. And, you know, they're a great group of guys, but again, the industry took them, and now even those guys are homogenized, and it breaks my heart because they got a great sound, but they just sound like every other cookie cutter band out there now, and it sucks because they're good.
Well, no, and that's even what got me into podcast and listening to more talk radio. I just got burned out of music, man. I got burned out of music. It was just like, anything new, I was just, you know, and I was like, well, you know, I've always liked talk radio. And so that's, you know, even kind of what got me more into podcasts and then wanting to do a podcast.
What kind of, who is one of your favorite locals?
Favorite local bands?
Yeah.
Well, gosh, there's so many, you know, again, one of my all-time favorites is Folk Hogan.
Oh,
you know, I love those guys.
Folk Hogan and Wanagani,
Hector Cobo,
those guys.
John Ross Boyce and his Troubles. Holy Water, but yeah, excellent band. I mean, those are some really good bands in my opinion.
American Hitmen, we can't forget those guys. Yeah. I got them on to America's Got Talent.
But again, their sound, they're producing, they're not afraid of, pushing themselves to create, and then even doing the podcast, getting exposed a little bit to the hip hop community. I don't really listen to a lot of hip hop, but just seeing Did
you ever hook up with Brunel Washburn like that?
I haven't had an opportunity to yet.
He's a busy cat.
Yeah. But I mean, just to see how hard they work.
Yeah.
And pushing their limits and pushing themselves and promoting themselves. They're great at promoting.
Yeah.
It's crazy the other music genres can really learn a lot from the hip hop community.
Yeah. Because, they do anything and everything to get their name out there.
Exactly. But I try to, especially where I live now, so close to Urban Lounge. They got the Slug Localized down there that they get the local bands play. Eagle Twin is another great local band.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've listened to them.
Yep.
Top Dead Celebrity, great local band.
Haven't heard their music yet.
Yeah.
I've heard of them, just haven't heard their music yet.
But
so they're coming along pretty well too.
Yeah. So there's a lot of great music from Salt Lake and from Utah in general. I mean, Utah County, some great bands coming out of Utah County.
Utah County blows my mind.
And it bums me out that I used to live down there, and it's like I don't live down there anymore. Now they're coming out with, they got some great music coming out.
Anything and everything coming out of Provo. It's kind of weird. Yeah. In fact, rock, a lot of, Adola. Again, is they're putting out their next album here real soon, and I really can't wait to hear from those guys. But yeah, they're really putting some great stuff together, and they're out of Spanish Fork, So it's like,
well, there's a place down there. I'm always seeing bands playing. There's a venue down in Spanish Fork. I have it, the Deer Hunter.
Deer Hunter.
Yeah, I'm always seeing bands. I've never been there. Have you been there?
I haven't been there, but I know a lot of bands that drive down.
I have no idea,
and they love it down there.
Yeah, I have no idea what it's like. But I mean, when I was living down in Utah County, Spanish Fork was a dead little town, man.
Mm-hmm.
And this area is growing. It's growing. I got some different questions to ask you this time, just to kind of spice things up a little bit. I always like to ask the second-time guests on the show some different questions. Just because we always you find out about what they do the first time around. So, anyways, if you could have any pet in the world, illegal or not, what pet would John Farmer own?
Ooh, illegal or not? Man. Well, I'd have to go with my two spirit animals. As crazy as that sounds, I know, but I'd have to go with a black panther and an eagle. That would be probably the two favorite ones that I would have to have.
I'm only letting you choose one here, John.
Black panther.
Black panther.
Yeah.
Excellent. What's the most delicious food that you've ever eaten in your entire life?
Favorite food. Well, I'm Italian, so I've got to go with the old homemade spaghetti and meatballs. I think that's probably, my wife makes this incredible Indonesian food. Oh, yeah. God, what does she call it? Yeah.
Mind blank there, huh?
Oh, man. But it's this Indonesian dish that my wife makes that I'm done. I eat it till I fall over.
All right. You just got a free plane ticket to go anywhere, but you have to depart right now. Where would you go?
I'd have to go back down to Brazil, back down to the Amazon again.
You've been there before?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I love it. Yeah, the Amazon was just amazing. Yeah, it'd have to be the Amazon.
An angel appears out of heaven and offers you a lifetime supply of alcoholic beverages of your choice. Be brand specific. What would you choose?
Oh man. Well, all right. I've got to break this one down because I haven't been to Spokane since. It was in the early 90s. There's this beer called Hale's Pale Ale.
Pretty good stuff, huh?
Oh, my God, yeah. They put it in old vintage oak casks, so you had that woody flavor, and it was a pale ale, and you got the woody flavor with it. Yeah, it was, oh, my God, you just die for that. But then I'd have to go with, for local, because I got to go with local. It's got to be an epic beer. And I'm going to have to go, wow, man, Epic just puts out
a lifetime supply here, John. This is, you're going to be stuck with this for
the rest of my life. Well, let's see. Then it would have to be Hop Rising from Squatters.
Oh, that's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah. I got the signature from the brewmaster who made that.
Really?
Yep.
I had him on the podcast.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I got his signature.
Well, you beat me there.
And it's hanging. It's in my cupboard with the signature on it. They changed the mix. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. If you grab
all I know is they got them in cans now.
They changed the IPUs. I was bummed out.
The Hop Rising in the cans, which is great for camping.
I did not know they put them in cans.
They got a brand new thing. So,
ooh.
You discover a beautiful island upon which you can build your own society. You make the rules. What is the first rule that you put into place? In your own society, John. Come on. I know these were going to be different questions here for you this time.
I know. It's funny because I actually have a religious philosophy about being on a deserted island. So I'd have to go with no religion just because it would cause too much strife amongst the people. It would just have to be, hey man, accept everybody. The first rule of thumb is accept everybody and their differences.
I like it. I actually like that a lot. Rufus from Bill and Ted's appears out of nowhere with a time-traveling phone booth. You can go anywhere in the past.
Let's see, how did you
What time are you traveling to, and what are you going to do when you get there?
Oh, man.
These are some thinking questions for you,
These
John.
are great thinking questions. Where would I go? I mean, there's like so many times that I've actually kind of thought about stuff like that. Like, I'd like to be back here in the Utah Valley during the Lake Bonneville era, see how the lake and filled up in this valley it would be. It'd be pretty cool. Definitely like to see the dinosaurs. I'd like to see the Prohibition times back in New York. Do some moonshine running. There's just so many times.
There was a lot of drinking back in the day here in Utah, man. There was a lot of drinking.
Yes, there was. Well, and thanks to Utah, December 5th, 80 years ago this year, it was Utah that cleared up the whole Prohibition. We signed off on the Prohibition.
And there's an interesting Utah fun fact.
Yep. So people. And did you know until the 40s, this used to be a Democratic state?
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yep. So
what happened?
It's breaking my heart. I mean, to go back in time, Rufus, back in time, man, I would, there's just so many points of history that I would like to go back and just look and see how everything transpired into what it was today. So that is truly a tough question. I don't know how to really answer that. I'd like to go back into the 1920s. I'd like to go back in time and see my grandfather.
You can't just pick one? Come on.
I honestly can't.
You can't? No, that's fine. That's fine.
I've truly thought, okay, I got a good one for you. The creation of Earth.
You'd like to go back to that?
I would like to go back and see once everything was in place and it was habitable, but there wasn't really anything here, just to see what it was about before it got all clusterfucked. Yeah, be pretty trippy.
I like that. We'll go with that. What's the coolest thing you've ever been for Halloween?
Let's see.
Or when's the last time you've even dressed up for Halloween?
Not too long ago. I think I dressed up last year, a couple of years ago. I think the coolest one that I ever really dressed up for, 2 times I really remember. Once when I was a kid, I dressed up like Bozo, had the mask and everything. And then recently I dressed up, had someone lent me their cow costume. It was a full-on cow with a big udder in the front. That's pretty much.
Did you just sit there and play with the udders?
Played with my udders.
You were just
I was like, hey, and they wanted me to get on all fours. It was pretty silly.
What's the last movie that you watched?
It was the one I took my daughter to, and that was Monsters University. That was funny as hell too. What's so amazing about that? Have you seen that one?
I haven't, no.
The graphics.
I don't have kids, so I don't go, I'm not.
Still a good show to watch.
I know, I just don't watch that kind of stuff.
I don't know, it's still a good show.
All right.
But the graphics. There was a scene when Mike Wazowski, or whatever the hell his name is, Wazowski, when he got off the bus, but when the bus pulled up into the camera frame, I thought for sure they used a real bus. It was that real. I was dumbfounded by how far we have come in the technology.
With like cartoons and stuff.
It literally looked real. The whole background scenes, everything. It's like it's mind-bending. Absolutely mind-bending. If you were to take the monsters out of them and put real people in there, you would have thought that real people were just walking around in this crazy university. It was impressive.
What's the last TV show that you watched? Even if it dates yourself. I know you don't have a lot of time to sit around and watch TV, probably. You're such a busy guy.
Let's see. Well, there's The Daily Show and Colbert Report, and I watched those. And then, what was the one? Oh, Walking Dead.
I just started that, actually. I just barely finished season 1 on Netflix. That is a great show.
Oh, it only gets better.
Does it get better? Well, yeah. I'm sure it does, but I finally started it. I'm pretty proud of myself. I'm a little bit behind with that show, but...
Get caught up. Oh, no, one of my favorite shows, House of Cards.
And that I actually was curious if that was good or not, if that was worth watching.
Oh, the first scene, I won't ruin it for you, but the first scene...
please don't ruin it.
Yeah, the first scene when Kevin Spacey comes out, I'll just give you a clue. A dog gets hit by a car. I'm going to leave it at that. And what wow, it is a show to watch. Absolutely.
I'll have to check it out. What's one of your all-time favorite habits that you have?
Favorite habits?
Favorite habits.
Do I have time for any habits anymore? Just playing music. That's probably the closest habit I have left.
What's your favorite word to say?
A lot of people are listening, right?
A lot of people are listening.
Clusterfuck. That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you could try out any job for a day, what would you like to try?
Astronaut. Love to see the outer space. I'd love to go into space.
What's the biggest lie that you've ever told?
Biggest lie I've ever told? Oh, Jesus.
Well, besides that one.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Yeah. Thus the whole no religion on my island. God, the biggest lie I've ever told.
Any come to mind?
Well, I know my wife would argue with me. Nothing really that I can really just think off the top of my head.
What's something that you wish everyone knew about you?
That what I'm doing is for the greater good of the community. That the radio station, everything that I'm working on is for the community. That people actually look at it and see how real it is.
Would you ever skydive or bungee jump?
When I was younger, I absolutely wanted to skydive. The older I got, not so much. Bungee jumping, that was another one of my younger pastimes I would have liked to have done. But I think, I did that iFly up in
Is that pretty fun?
That's awesome.
I've been wanting to go up and check that out.
You want to get a little bit of shape for it because when the next day your shoulders are killing you, you wouldn't think about it at the time.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, but it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with it. In fact, I took my older daughter up there, and she's so flexible. She actually bent in half backwards because she was the wind just folded her up in half and everything. But she had a blast. It was a lot of fun.
If you knew that you were going to die tomorrow, would you feel cheated today?
If I knew I was going to die tomorrow?
Would you feel cheated?
Yeah, because I haven't finished what I'm doing with the radio station and working with the community and not being able to see my family and watch my girls grow up and all that, my son. And yeah, I think I'd probably feel cheated for that.
What would you want written on your tombstone?
Here lays Johnny Cat. And we'll just leave it at that. And let people wonder who the hell Johnny Cat was.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, with winter here, are you excited? Are you a skier? Do you snowboard?
I'm a skier, avid skier. Haven't gone skiing in a couple of years. Just one, haven't had the time. But with this back injury now, I don't know if I'll be able to do it this year.
What did you have any favorite resorts that you went to, or you just kind of hit them all up?
Alta, yeah. When I was younger, I hit every single one of them. It's I don't know. Again, I'm going back to this whole conglomerate crap, but I mean, how fair does it seem to you that it's like $75 to go for a day's worth of skiing?
Oh, it's ridiculous. I mean, that's one of the biggest things that keeps me away from doing it. I've only been snowboarding a handful of times myself, and it's mostly because it's so goddamn expensive.
Yeah. It's
just like, this is
fucking ridiculous.
This is ridiculous.
I'm just going straight out for the F-bomb. It's fucking ridiculous because.
And then they wonder why people go backcountry. Then they wonder why, and
why are there so many avalanches?
Yeah.
When I used to go skiing up at Brighton, it was $12 for a day pass.
When you were a young child.
That was when I was 17.
Yeah.
18. It was $12. 15.
It was affordable. You could go.
It was affordable. Yeah. I mean, what's $15 now? You're looking at, 50, 65, 75. Go to Park City. Park City's what? 65, 75 now?
I don't even know.
Yeah. I mean, even Alta, I'll always stay true to Alta because they're just, they still try to keep it for the locals. They're still locally owned, but they're still, their prices are still getting up there. They're in the 40s or something now for a day pass. 35 for a half day, 45 for a full day or something. So it's like, something like that. But.
So as we kind of wrap this up here, what's in store for American Musicians Radio? What do you want to, anything you want to share that people can expect over the next few months? Anything,
We are working on a facility, trying to put together a facility, work with a facility. Again, we had plans with this other location that we've been working with for the last year, and unfortunately, up until the light switches and the light switch panels were being put on, things kind of went south. Unfortunately, still love the guys, really good people. Just there was a lot of misunderstandings at the end, which kind of shot it. But what we've got coming down the line now is we've got another location that we're looking into, And
just kind of that full service facility, like you were mentioning, bands recording, and
we're going to have our studio there. We're going to have a recording studio. There's a live venue, so when we start doing the interviews, we're going to have a live audience that can come in, and the bands can play live in front of a crowd. We'll do the interviews like this, except the band will all be set up, and then they'll be on their stage and everything, and then the audience will be there, and they can check out their favorite band, or even just come out and listen to some great live music and be on the radio and be heard all around the world. That's a great thing about what, Utah musicians, how it all started, is that it was local, but it just blew up into global.
Yeah.
And then that's why we ended up going into American Musicians Radio. So now pretty much everything that's going to be on our radio station, and when the audiences come in, they're going to be heard all around the world. People are going to tune in and they're going to listen to the entire, the whole show. And if we get some things going really well, we're going to start bringing back some really cool, old school things that should have been done a long time ago.
Yeah.
Just can't talk about it right now.
No, I got you. I just didn't know if there was anything you wanted to share, just kind of things people can expect, stuff like that.
We've got the charts coming up on the website. And again, this is for the people. This is for the masses. This is for...
So if you're a local band listening in anywhere.
Yeah,
anywhere in the world.
We've got Austria. We've got a band that just came in from Austria. We've got Germany that just came in. We've got a guy from Italy. We've got Australia just blowing up, and give it up for the Aussies for sure. In fact, we had a competition because Australia was just sending in music like crazy. And then, of course, because we're based out of Utah, so it was whoever was going to, there was a bet going on who was going to have 100 bands before one another. And Utah beat out Australia by about 8 bands at the very end.
Go Utah, right?
Yeah, that's right. So now we have 107, and I think Australia, the last check, was 108. So Australia is now taking the lead, but at least we got to 100 first. So keep sending in the music. Just go to amr.fm, submit your music there. If you're not a musician, just go in and listen to the local music scene. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's all about supporting the local musicians, and you get to hear some stuff that you've never heard before, and if something you like, you can go on there and see where they're playing or become a fan and ask them, hey, where are you guys playing next? And it's a great form of communication. It is social networking for bands and fans and people to do whatever.
Well, yeah, because bands love to find out, especially like if, say, they're a local band from Utah and they find out, hey, we're getting a fan base in Washington.
That's what
let's go there and play.
And that's where we're headed, is that, see, at the end of the day, we can be able to tell where the bigger band, where the bigger popularity is. So you may be in Utah and you got a big fan base here, but now if you want to go on tour, you don't want to go to New York if your bigger fan base is in California. So why waste your time going to New York? The other great thing is that you can go into all 50 states and you can create your own tour. And if there's a band, you can pick your own genre now. Like our old website, it was just whatever you want out there. You can, in 1 minute it'd be rap, the next minute it'd be country, the next minute it'd be metal, the next minute it'd be whatever. Here, you can actually pick your genre now. So if you want just metal, you can listen to metal. If you just want blues, you can just listen to blues. If you want pop, you can just listen to pop. You can pick your own genre now, which is really nice. But what's nice is that these bands can now go into each state, pick a genre or their genre that they're playing, go to, say, California or Colorado, and find a band that's similar to them, contact them, and say, hey, we're going to be going through town. Can we open up for you guys? Or can you open up for us? Or do you have a recommendation for a good band? They can communicate, and then they become friends. We already got that right now where Opal Hill Drive and High Point from Texas, which, by the way, High Point from Texas, phenomenal band.
Really?
Yeah, go check them out. Go on to website and go to Texas and listen to High Point. Go into Utah, and like I said, we've got 107 bands now, and keeps growing every day. So,
and how can people find you on Facebook? I know you're pretty active on Facebook.
People can find me on Facebook by just going to Utah Musicians or American Musicians Radio. You can see me there. That's where I normally just do all of my face blogging.
And any other? Do you do any other social media sites, or is it pretty much Facebook is where you push yourself?
I really just stick with Facebook. I don't even have a Twitter account.
Yeah.
I should get a Twitter account. Again, going back to the whole promotions.
I thought Utah Musicians had a Twitter.
I think it does. My old partner he set up a Twitter account. But again, if it's still hooked up to it, it is. If it's not, I don't know.
Anything else you want to add here, John, before we close out? Or
I want to say thanks to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially,
Thank you.
and the incredible work that you're doing for the local community. Again, I haven't, said it enough, but
Come on, you've said it. You've said it enough times. I mean,
I've said it to you enough times, but not to the people.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
People
it means a lot.
Truly need to know what an amazing person you are, and the incredible things that you're doing for the community. I want to say hello to my wife and my beautiful kids. Without them, again, there was a point not too long ago where I hit kind of a brick wall. And I was just like, oh my God, where are we going to go? And she literally just picked me up, grabbed my belt loops and picked me up and said, get your ass back out there and keep rocking. And just kept me rolling. And
it's amazing how we have that special somebody in our life that keeps us going and keeps us grounded.
Yeah, definitely. So, all of my family, my mom and dad, and my wife's mom and dad, and everybody there, and just all the fans out there, all the people that keep believing in Utah Musicians and American Musicians Radio, all of my business partners that are part of this, Justin and Dave and Pete and Kurt. Gareth again down there, George, got Sam out in North Carolina now. There's just, it's becoming such an incredible network of people that are making this thing happen. So without all those guys, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the bands. I mean, give it up for all the bands. I just mentioned maybe 5 or 6 bands, but
well, and you're always pushing new bands even on the Facebook page, man.
Yeah. And I try to do that. I try to get, just all these bands out there that is just really great music, but not able to, not a lot of people know about. And so those are the ones that I want to try to help out a lot too. Jedi from Opal Hill Drive, big time. This guy he stepped up to the plate. We've got some big things coming next year. I can't wait to, talk about that some more too, because big things are coming next year and that's through Jedi. So
we'll bring you back on the show, man, and we'll catch up. Like I always say,
and definitely get Jedi on board.
Get Jedi on the show. I mean, there's a lot of people here in Utah that still need to get on the podcast.
We're looking for advertisers too. So any of the companies that you're talking to, anybody that's out there listening now that wants to advertise, we've got a killer deal going on. If you want to advertise either your business, or if you want to just advertise your band, or if you've got some product that you want to sell out there, we've got, you're not going to get better prices than what we offer, because again, we're for the locals.
Yeah.
So supporting locals.
And I love what you do, John.
Oh,
that's why I had to bring you back on the show. Do some catching
me begging you, dude, can I come back on?
Nah, it's all good.
No, I appreciate everything, man. Absolutely everything you're doing.
Many thanks goes out to John Farmer for coming on this episode of the podcast and doing some catching up, finding out what's going on with American Musicians Radio. Again, check out their website, amr.fm, and stream all local music all the time. You can click on the state or the country, wherever you want to listen to a local band from. And if you're from Utah, from Salt Lake City, and you have not submitted your music, head on over to amr.fm and submit your music, create your profile, and get involved with this great project that John Farmer is part of. Again, the show notes for this episode, you can find them on the iamsaltlake.com website. Just go to iamsaltlake.com/124, and you can connect with him on Facebook and all of the social media sites that American Musicians Radio is involved in. Hey, a few ways you can help support the podcast, and all help is appreciated, and many, many thanks to those of you that support the podcast and help keep it alive The first way is you can share any of your favorite episodes with your family and friends. This is the most important way to help support the podcast. If you have a favorite episode, share it on Twitter or Facebook or Pinterest, however, whatever social media site you use. And that helps get the word out about the podcast. And I cannot thank you guys enough for doing this. Another way you can help support the podcast, if you have not left a review on iTunes, that is much appreciated. Just head on over there. You can find the iTunes link on the website. Leave us a 5-star review. That helps boost the ratings and gets the podcast exposed to more people. Also, you can help support the podcast. There is a donate button. $1 or $2 goes a long ways, helps keep the podcast alive. And I cannot thank enough to those of you that have been supporting the podcast. Helps with the bandwidth and helps keep it moving forward. Another way you can help support the podcast, if you make any purchases on the zag.com website, just click on that banner that you see on the website, the Zag banner. You get free shipping. They throw a few nickels our way and helps keep the podcast moving forward that way. So next time you're in the market for an invisible shield or any smartphone accessory or iPad accessory, click on that banner. You get free shipping and they support the podcast. That's going to do it for this episode. If you're listening to this before Christmas, you guys have a Merry Christmas. If you're listening to it after Christmas, hope you guys had a great holiday spending with your family and friends. I know I'm excited for Christmas this year. I'm excited for a brand new year. There's a lot in store for 2014 for myself, for the podcast, for Salt Lake City. It's going to be a good year. So make sure to subscribe in iTunes, Stitcher Radio. Check us out on the Mediocre Radio Network. And I'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks so much for listening.